So, yeah, thank you to anybody who fills out that feedback survey. That's going to be up for like the whole month. So, yeah, if you want to fill that out, go ahead and do that. Shout out to anybody that follows the websites and stuff like that. Shout out to Alan recently, the behind the scenes thing. But yeah, let's get into some of these things. We're going to fly around different topics here and there. We're going to do our TV talk, all that stuff. But one thing I want to talk about on the commentary side of things, this has been confirmed now. Jesse the Body Ventura is going to be on the commentary team for WWE's Saturday night's main event, which I think is great. Jesse is fun on the mic. He hasn't been around in a while, so we can get his kind of fresh perspective about people. I highly doubt he knows who the people are, all things considered. But that in and of itself could lead to some funny moments, because he could just kind of be like, well, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he looks kind of tough, and like, I like Ventura as like, an entertaining kind of guy to, he's not going to be with Vince, so that's going to be a little bit weird, but I'm down for this 100%.
I mean, yeah, I didn't think about that. I'd like to get some Ventura-isms in on, like, how Cody Rhodes is in tremendous shape compared to his father, and, like, Kevin Owens is more like Dusty Rhodes than his own son, just stuff like that, or, Jesus, Michael, back in, when I was calling this stuff with Gorilla, the women didn't wrestle like this. This is just little things that put over the talent while also giving the Jesse the Body flair, and I'm looking forward to that. He's probably going to love to go there.
Oh, I can see that, yeah. Maybe we'll get some kind of Baja comment in there. So that's cool. When we get more information about anything else that's happening on that front, we'll address that. But for the most part, we've talked about everything that's been leading up to that. They might do some kind of adjustments tonight on Smackdown. If they're running out of time for Saturday night's main event to be added anything else, because they only have a 2-hour show. So right now we're at 4 different matches already for the card. I don't think we're going to get anything else added to there, but if we do, it wouldn't shock me if it was like a Roman Reigns segment or some kind. Or
what the show is missing? Like a Carlos Cabana or Miz TV or just a ridiculous talk show segment that will allow everything to be ridiculous.
That's where I could see them going with some kind of Bloodline-ish segment.
Yeah, but the Bloodline shit is too serious.
Yeah.
I was like, Miz TV needs to happen, and he needs to interview, like, Jimmy Hart and a bunch of legends they have under contract, and then maybe, Undertaker pops out and chokeslams Miz or something. I don't know.
Maybe that's where Ventura comes in. Maybe he has, like, some kind of little fun thing where he knocks somebody out or whatever.
Which is Marine 7 to do there.
It got time to bleed. We will, of course, address a lot of that stuff next week when we get into the kind of, like, prediction and, all that spiel. Again, with the spiel. Why do I keep saying that lately? Why is that a phrase that I'm, like, harping on? I don't understand.
It's bad. I get with the spiel. I just give you...
Respect the spiel and the smear. Yeah, we got Saturday night's main event to talk about next week, so that's the only little bonus thing. We're going to break down the card more a few videos from now. If we're talking about upcoming cards and everything like that, we can get into this topic that I don't buy, because maybe I'm just fucking dumb, maybe it's a coping thing, but the more and more discussion about The Rock not working WrestleMania. And I don't buy it for a couple different reasons. So I don't know what the report is about exactly, like, who is supposed to be giving this kind of, hey, The Rock's not doing Mania kind of discussion, that's your big setup of that. I don't know what the source is for that, but I can't imagine that they've done all of this fucking work and that he's just going to again be like, yeah, but I decided to book a movie exactly around that time, and I decided that that's going to take priority, and I'm not going to be able to work that whatsoever. If that's the case, I don't ever want to see him pop up again. You've had 10 fucking years to do that, more than 10, but at least 10 fucking years since the 2015 Royal Rumble. And if you got told, okay, you want to do it for WrestleMania 38, 39, you finally want to do it at 40, the worst possible time, and then you're like, well, let's wait an entire year, and then you don't. No, I'm done with it. Then we don't even need the Rock and Roman match. Move on. Now, I don't want Rock to be out of the picture and to have Roman fight solo. We talked about that before, but here's why I don't believe this report about him not working Mania. He's flat out said before, don't believe that shit. So that's at least a little bit of, okay, he's denying that. Apparently he also had said something to, I guess it was Billy Body's son, that he, like, hopes he sees him in Vegas. Yeah, I don't know where that, like, I don't know where that all kind of comes into the mix.
So that's first of all. So, like, never mind that shit.
Here comes Mongo.
So I'm just reading. Yeah, here.
You can say never mind that shit, not have that pop in my brain.
Here comes Mongo. So I'm reading Sean's report here, and he had noted on the post Raw show that now includes Ebu from Wrestle Purists, so check that out for those of you that like your scoopsters, that he feels that The Rock isn't working the show based on things that he's heard. Chris Riley Stone from Sportskeeda has also heard from sources that are operating under the assumption that Rock won't be working the event. Meltzer said it a while ago. This is the part of the Sean report that annoys me. WWE sources don't fight for that The Rock's bad blood appearance was to simply get him on screen and didn't have a major direction or plot point they were furthering. That I don't like, because that's some bullshit that, like, we would associate with the Vince era, or even if it's not the Vince era, it's just bad booking. Like, if you're not going anywhere with it, why are you presenting this man on screen? The Rock also just finished filming live-action Moana. Fightful Select is told that Cody Rhodes and The Rock filmed something at the Moana 2 premiere, which may or may not see the light of day. And then the Fightful report finishes by saying anyone pretending that anyone's reported The Rock is 100% out for WrestleMania isn't being genuine, and nobody would supply that kind of a blanket statement about The Rock. So WWE preparing for WrestleMania without The Rock, to me, is a smart move. Because, hey, just in case he pulls the rug out, we need plan B and C.
Backup plan, that's not a bad idea. You never know, based off of the way that history has gone, if he does back out of it for one reason or another. But I also don't want them to be like, all right, well then let's do the backup plan and just do the backup plan and drag out this Solo Sikoa thing. And then if The Rock commits to it, then we have to rush the Solo thing at the last second. We just wasted months and months and months.
Well, to be fair, that's just what they do.
It's annoying. But here's the thing that
fucking loaded. Like, they might be thinking, okay, hey Rock, if you're gonna miss one, this might be it because all eyes are on Cena.
It could be. I'm a little bit suspicious that potentially their backup plan is to not do Punk versus Rollins, but to do Punk versus Rollins versus Roman.
Wells Fargo has enabled small businesses to create or preserve more than
For what?
For Mania.
No, for what? Like, what's on the line?
I don't know if it would be like a number one contenders thing. I don't know if somewhere they just like have a match for the sake of it, or like I don't know how they would get there. But the fact that they're setting up something with Roman and Punk at the same time that they're setting up the whole Rollins thing, that has me kind of like, at the very least, they're positioning it where I should be more excited about what that whole favor thing is than to see Solo versus Roman 6 months from now.
About this, like maybe they just came up with that out of their ass, and they don't actually have a plan for
It
that.
could very well be just we put that out there and we'll figure it out later.
It's just, that's a great hook though. As long as you pay it off at some point with something.
Well, not necessarily just with something.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
worthwhile.
that the favor is the muffins. I'm saying like,
I mean, he didn't get his macarons.
I'm saying, hey, maybe the favor is, all right, Roman has won the championship, but now I'm coming for the championship, and I need you to open the door for me to beat Roman or whatever. Like, it's just an interesting plot device, and that's more than I can say for anything with The Rock, because the whole like, he put something in Cody's hand the night after Mania, and I was like, oh, what did he give him? And that would have been intriguing. I grant you. Except they did what they always do with full-time champions and said, hey, you're full-time, now you're going to fight a guy who couldn't get on the pay-per-view 2 months ago. And we're just going to do these matches.
They revealed what Rock gave him, right?
No.
I thought that they did, and that it was like underwhelming, and then I've already forgotten it.
I could, if they did, I completely.
What The Rock gave Cody Rhodes. Let's see. Maybe he didn't. I thought that Cody had said something in an interview.
You see, what's happening with Tony here, folks, is he has a penchant for being he's preemptively underwhelmed. With everything that's come to be done. And it's very funny for me to watch. Yeah, you are actively preemptively underwhelmed so often.
So in June, Cody said, I never confirmed who they went to about the watches, but I will say this, and I'm sure you can read between the lines. There were 4 of them made for WrestleMania main eventers, and again, even if you don't like the person you're sitting across from, well, they'll be back in a time and place, and I wouldn't remember it. So I can't confirm that's where it went, but it would probably be a good guess.
That's the watches, though.
Yeah.
They never said what
so I guess he didn't officially say that was the watch.
No, because it was too small to watch.
Probably was fucking nothing. Any of that stuff we're going to
see.
see.
You're so preemptively like, no, it was bad.
He gave him a gift card to Panera Bread or something.
Hey, those kitchen sink cookies.
Most of the stuff at Panera's pretty good. Hey, Panera, you want to sponsor us? You want to bring the one that's closest to my apartment? They fucking took away from me. Now I'm never going to Panera anymore because I ain't going down an extra couple streets. Fuck you. I ain't that fucking good for that price. Come on, I'm not going to walk around there. There goes that sponsorship. It ain't good enough for me to walk a couple blocks.
Well,
but if you have a car and it's cheaper, look, Red Bull is something that you fuck up once in a while. We'll say that. I'm just going through it. Yeah, broccoli cheddar for me. Anyway, that's a little bit of a snack talk 2.0. Let's talk about this whole Peacock Monday Night Raw. Actually, it's a couple of things about Monday Night Raw. So one of the things is Monday Night Raw is not going to continue to have their archives on Peacock anymore. And I know you are very concerned about this.
I'll say this. I'm glad Calum's not here because this would have been greeted with the biggest amount of indifference. I think this is terrible. I think this is terrible, and I think we should say something. You cannot go from a system where you have everything at your disposal for $9.99 and then go, hey, we're not giving you all of the Raw episodes anymore.
NXT is out of it. And
a bullshit excuse that, who really does that? Who really looks at 1994 Raw? First of all, me. Second of all, that's not the point. The point is, it was available to us, and now it is being taken away. For the same reason that I don't like when HBO Max takes shit off the platform. For the same reason I don't like that Disney Plus takes things off the platform. I don't like the Michael Jackson episode of The Simpsons isn't available for viewing.
Right. Or Netflix will be like, well, we're going to add a TV show, and then like that's supposed to be a real major marketing point for you to sign up for the service, but then we only have it for a few years or something, and then now the license rights expire. And I get that, like, license rights are a thing, but also, when you are in bed with WWE the way that they are, it's not the same type of license rights. And we don't know the specifics about that stuff. So maybe there's some kind of weird thing, there's some finagling going down or whatever, but like, that isn't the same as Netflix not having Friends anymore, or The Office, or whatever it might be.
Here's a good example, How I Met Your Mother. I primarily watched How I Met Your Mother on Netflix. And one day it was taken off, it moved to Hulu, it's now back on Netflix. I understand stuff like that, I don't love it, but I understand stuff like that. This is different. This is an archive, this is a library. This makes every person who vents and pisses and moans on the internet about physical media still being of dire importance. And for those of you, Tony, who like to advocate for piracy, this does that because I tell you, if I had every episode of Raw, which we have used on this very platform, on this very network, Smarkoutmoment, 2001 Wrestling Odyssey, every time we do a fan announce table, we use the Peacock library, we use the network library. Yes, I know that the YouTube channel is a thing, and they're uploading things as fast as they have the Heyman documentary on there, the Punk documentary, they have Survivor Series 90, they have Halloween Havoc 98, but you're not going to tell me that they're just going to throw in all of the stuff that ever existed onto this one platform while also trying to shovel out videos for the algorithm. It ain't going to work. It feels very much like the Disney Vault to me, where it's like, hey, you better hurry up and fucking buy Little Mermaid.
Right.
We're going to make it available for you for the next 6 months. And again, yeah, I'm irrationally upset about this, probably in the minds of some of you, but I actively use this stuff. I am the person who sits around and goes, I need some background noise. Bam, starting 95 Raw, and I'll just play.
Right.
Because I didn't enjoy that shit. That is part of the reason why I love the network. I love the fact that I can go, you know what? I want to watch WCW Beach Blast 92. I can just do that. You can't take away something that has been, easily accessible and then just go, deal with it. And look, as upset as I am, I'm also older, so I can at least sympathize with somebody going, they never showed them that to begin with. It's a horrible business model and it wasn't working. But the kids who don't know.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
That's not what I meant. I'm actually, like, the entitled kids who don't know anything about like a life before everything being at your fucking fingertips, they're just gonna look at this and go, I'm not fucking paying you more money for less content.
Now, across the board, people need to stop with this, like, what can we do to fuck people over? What's the most amount that we can fuck them over and have them be okay with it? Look, I'm not advocating for certain things, but sometimes when you fuck around, you find out.
Hiked holiday prices can make you a Scrooge. Just shop Aldi, where holiday savings are huge.
And I am totally okay with the way that the world's been going lately. I am totally okay with people going, I think they should fucking find out. I'm going to leave it at that, because I want to keep myself with the allegedly type of, you don't know exactly what I'm talking about, but I am hoping that somebody at the very least on the next press conference thing has the stones to avoid asking, hello, Mr. Paulbeck. I am Jim Jaspers, and I work for the Bemidji Times. When are you going to bring Wrestlemania to Bemidji? Or, hi, this is Ann, whatever the fuck, and I write strictly about women's pro wrestling. Can you tell me how great women's pro wrestling is? Somebody have the stones to say, hey, Mr. Levesque, is Monday Night Raw, are all those episodes just going to go on Netflix, and if so, when? If not, what are your plans right now that you have for what the Raw archives are going to be? And the same when it comes to NXT. Just ask that question, and then you will get an answer. If you get an answer of, yes, Raw is coming to Netflix, but we can't say exactly when because we're still working on the details, or we are working on the archives and transferring and uploading them over, so it'll take some time, or you get we have nothing in place and we just don't want to upload them, or we've got plans for Raw but not for NXT, it'll at least force him to say something, even if it's, I cannot talk about it because I really don't want to reveal that information. Then you'll know that it's like, all right, they're working on something and they don't fucking know. But ask the questions that your press. God damn it, I don't even consider myself a journalist, and at the same time, I'm like, I would do better journalism than these people. What the fuck?
No, and again, because so many people go, well, they don't really care about the Coliseum home video archive. Me, again, this is where I get selfish, because this is the shit that I care about. I care about having all of everything available to me, because one, it's become just a very easy way to live. Two, I'm actively so much more of a fan of this stuff. I grew up dreaming about being able to access any Royal Rumble at any moment when I think about it, and you can do that, and I don't see that shit go away because people just decided, we're not making enough money. Get over it.
Everybody that has the position to be able to mess around with stocks, you're making enough money, motherfuckers. Relax. You know what I mean? We talked about it a million times. So I'm not gonna
the record profit versus
the profit era.
Let's release people.
We need to be in the find out era. So repeat that again.
All I'm saying is, don't take away my classic wrestling, because that is a huge chunk of reason as to why I'm even subscribed. Because I got news for you. If you're going to take away the archives now, not next year when Peacock's deal with WWE goes away, I'm unsubscribing from it. I don't need Peacock.
But you need it for pay-per-views.
I don't want fucking no, fuck you. I have a VPN. I use Netflix.
Well, pay-per-views aren't going to be on Netflix.
They will be in every other country in the world.
Oh, yeah, I guess technically you do it that way.
So there you go.
Keep in mind.
Don't take away my classic episodes of Raw.
Yeah, don't do that.
Speaking of classic things, on the network that I don't want to go away, Saturday Night's Main Event. You know what's coming up next Saturday? Saturday Night's Main Event. And I'm gonna tell you, if you're gonna start taking these things away, how will people care what Saturday Night's Main Event is if you can't, go on the network and find out what Saturday Night's Main Event is?
You fuck around, but you can't find it.
Not everybody's a fucking nerd like me, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So that's a thing that's kind of up in the air for that. But also, there's been another announcement of something that's changing when it comes to Monday Night Raw. Raw will apparently start to stream live no matter where they are. So no matter the time zone. And that, at first, it sounds like, okay, well, who gives a shit? That means that we're not going to get Monday Night Raw when they go to, the UK. We're going to get WWE Monday Afternoon Raw.
Wait, I thought this was saying, no matter what, anybody watching can watch at 8 p.m. Eastern, because even if it wouldn't normally air in your area until 3 hours later because you're in California, you can watch it live on Netflix.
Oh, is that how I interpreted it? As they're recording it live and broadcasting it as they do it. That's what I thought that it was.
They could be, because that's what they do when they go to Saudi for the live pay-per-views. That's interesting.
So actually, we might need to double check to see if there's more information on this. So let's see. Read this Wrestle Ops thing. Wrestle Ops is pretty good. WWE Raw on Netflix in 2025 will air live no matter where it's taking place. When the company heads to Europe on the road to WrestleMania 41, Raw will stream live in the United States at the same time, no matter the time zone differences. The plan is to have the show air live as it happens and then be available via VOD as soon as possible after it goes off the air.
Oh, that's crazy.
That's via PWI.
That's crazy. So you mean we're going to be watching Raw in the afternoon? That's great.
Somebody brings up a good comment on this Reddit post and said, well, what does that mean about future tapings? If they do back-to-back tapings and stuff. So that, I would assume, they aren't going to just do, okay, well, then you see next week's. They'll just record that episode and then air it live. Air it for the first time live, even though it's not recorded live, and do it like that.
Maybe, I don't know how any of this works, but maybe there's something in the contract, you can only have X number of taped episodes. Kind of cut down on that. That's really interesting. I like that, quite frankly.
I'm sure there's going to be times where I end up being like, oh, I don't want to wake up early to do this, or I don't want to, readjust my schedule to do Raw coverage in the middle of the afternoon, or whatever it is. But realistically, for me, at the very least, and for you too, we watch that stuff, on Twitter. We follow those spoilers. We try to figure out what's happening because we're reporting on that stuff anyway. So if they air Raw during the middle of the afternoon after a Saudi show or something, okay, well, that just means I watch Raw for 2 to 3 hours as opposed to spend 2 to 3 hours refreshing my Twitter feed, hoping to find information about what just happened. So it's easier for me. I'm down for that.
And I'll say this. Here's the only negative as a fan that I can tell you about watching Raw early. So when I lived in Hawaii, I would get a stream from the UK, and that shit's at 2 in the afternoon. And the only bad thing as a fan about that is you don't have that same excitement and those same jitters that stay with you throughout the night, because you go on to live a whole day after the show. We've gotten a little more used to that in this era of international shows. Some news that's as much of a big deal. But yeah, you don't have that same excitement because you're like, oh, the show's over, it's only 2 o'clock, and I still need to, go grocery shopping and actually live my day. So the show lives long in memory. But that's just my perspective as a fan.
Yeah, and when that happens every once in a while, it's it's okay. I'm fine with that.
Cyber Week starts now. Up to 30% off fleece from Nike, Under Armour, and DSG. Up to 40% off selection.
So that's a difference about TV show things.
And then there's also the confirmation from Nick Khan during the recent
confirmation
that WWE Raw will be continuing on as a family-friendly program on Netflix.
Yeah, that's not all that surprising, to be honest.
I love 2 minds about it because first of all, like you said, not all that surprising. But then I would say, don't bound yourself to that comment. Because then if The Rock does show up on January 6th, it feels like just saying fuck all the time. You're gonna be like, yeah, never mind what we said, but only for The Rock. And that's the kind of stuff that's like annoying. Hey, maybe you have an older fan base right now. You had the kids in the Cena era, and they're grown up. Maybe just grow up with them. You know what I mean? Like, that it worked previously when the kids in the Hogan era grew up into the Attitude era. That's how that worked. Maybe it's time to just present less of a family-friendly show. By the way, that doesn't mean that, because we promised not to be family-friendly, we now have to resort to crass behavior.
Right.
That doesn't mean that.
You don't have to go from 0 to 100.
It doesn't mean like, we said we would be family-friendly. So tonight in the Braun Panties main event, we're going to have Liv Morgan against Rhea Ripley. No.
Now, would I want to see that?
Easy.
That's a different story. Then we start talking and we go, okay, you can play around with that a little bit more. Like, I like rated R content. I like PG-13 content. I'm kind of of the opinion that everything is better if you go with whatever it feels like it should be rather than forcing it. And that applies to, this kind of stuff, but it also applies to movies, for instance. Like, people go like, oh, we need a rated R everything. No, not everything needs to be rated R. But I would really like to see a rated R Batman movie at one point, because a lot of Batman villains are really fucking brutal when you don't have to go under the PG-13 banner. And you can't do... Yeah, I'm geeking out over Batman. Batman's an amazing job. You can't do Professor Pig properly and not make it rated R.
If they ever do a rated R Batman, it's going to be one thing, and you know what it is. It's got to be Serious House and Serious.
Or like Arkham Asylum.
Yeah, that's Arkham Asylum.
I mean, like an adaptation more of like the specific game. Like,
oh no, you're not allowed to do that. Kevin Conroy's not allowed.
Yeah, like that type of stuff is applicable to WWE, where like, I don't want WWE to just be like, okay, well, we have to hit a certain amount of curse words, or nudity, or drug references, or whatever the hell that would be, to reach a rated R thing, because that'll make us cool. No, make good content. If it's G, PG, PG-13R, then it'll be good. But if you say, well, we only have, like, the thing that always bugs me, and I think it's hilarious, but the idea that like the MPAA only allows you to say fuck once in a movie, to me that's like, these people sitting around at this conference table are like, I don't know, man, a lot of people died in this movie, and these jokes were like this kind of reference and all that stuff, and they said shit 117 times. You said fuck twice, though, and I think that's going over the limit. Like, that type of stuff is crazy to me. And WWE should be allowed to have a little bit of flexibility, where if they want somebody to say, I'm going to kick your fucking ass, that's not the end of the world.
Look at it. Here's a great example. Jada Parker on this week's episode of NXT was letting some words fly. And she was just feeling
it. Run that shit back, I think, right?
She said run that shit back, dropped an N-bomb.
Oh, she did? I didn't catch that.
To the referee.
When did she say that?
Because she was yelling at the referee to get the ropes down.
I didn't catch her say that, though.
And she said, I know you heard me. Get him down now. And it's, sure, go with it. She's feeling it. Jada Parker is a great example of somebody who's like a real character, and you like can say, okay, she's at least into what she's doing. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I want to see. I don't want to see them be like, well, we have to be family friendly, but we promised you a little bit of edginess, so The Rock's gonna get to say fuck once, or John Cena might say shit. It's like
JBL's movie.
Yeah, he was the poster child for that TV era. Let the thing fly as it may. Don't constrain yourself to anything. I can say I'm excited for Raw on Netflix. This is a huge change. For the first time ever, Raw's not on cable, which is a huge corporation statement. We're all moving away from cable. Is it 10 years too late? Maybe, but everybody's finally ready to move a big property like this off of cable. And I'm curious to see what happens.
That's one show thing. We also know another update for the show. We talked about this before, but WWE LFG. Now we know a little bit more about Legends and Future Greats. And this is a little bit different than what I was anticipating. So I'm not going to read the whole press thing for everybody, but we'll give you some highlights here. It specifically says that it features Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, and Booker T, which already is like, okay, well, is it the four of them sitting around and just talking about their four biggest rivals and whatever, like that kind of thing, whatever? Well, not quite, because it says it's a new competition series that features in-ring matches along with behind-the-scenes looks and rising talent vying for a coveted WWE contract while being mentored by those four. And they also throw in their coaches like Mickey James and Bubba Ray Dudley, I should say English, Bubba Ray. And it's like going to do stuff about the training process and all this. So this feels like it's like the fourth variation of Tough Enough. We've had Tough Enough, we've had Breaking Ground, we had that the Roku show that nobody in the world watched. And it's like, is this the A&E version of Tough Enough? It kind of seems like it. And
I'm good with it, though.
The Roku thing, I didn't bother to watch because, let's face it, they, not only is it Roku, but they also, damn near went out of their way not to tell anybody that this show existed. It was pretty much the way that they do with, main event. It's so crazy to me. When WWE has something that's outside of the norm, they will specifically not do something about it. Why are the Speed Champions not holding their championships when they are on Smackdown? What is the purpose for that? To be like, I don't want to advertise.
It's Twitter or X being like, no, that's our thing, and it's only our thing. Dumb.
It's just so stupid because it's just like, well, main event. They don't ever advertise it. So a lot of people that actually probably would be interested in checking it out wouldn't know that it exists because they just act like it's not a thing. So if that's another thing with this A&E show of the WWE LFG where this is the most that we're ever going to hear about it, then I'm going to forget about it too. But if I actually see promos for it and they plug it on an episode of Raw or something, then I'll try to check it out. I like that kind of thing. You brought up something interesting though that we were talking about this. We were trying to just settle on our hot tags. Is this going to be where the WWE ID people get used? Or is this just performance center people? Or is this outside of people like, Think the Search type of stuff?
My guess is it's the ID people, because, you're not going to have some random, YouTube promo guy working with The Undertaker. But I do think that this could be a good way to use them. It's an interesting concept. I'm always open to watching something once. I'm looking forward to it.
I like the idea that they're throwing Mickey James and Bubba Ray Dudley in there.
I could go my whole life without ever seeing Bubba Ray Dudley again. I'm really good on this guy. And that's not to say I didn't like him. I know it's a little hypocritical coming from me, folks, because 90% of the rest of my life is nostalgia. But I'm so good on nostalgia when it comes to, injecting it into modern wrestling. Where it's Bubba Ray Dudley's going to do the Bubba Ray Dudley thing. And it's okay, can we do things like Bubba Ray Dudley, but with modern people? You know what I mean? So I'm good on him, and also just he's fucking everywhere. He's everywhere. I've seen him in Maple Leaf, in everything but AEW. I've seen this dude this year. I'm good about Bubba Ray Dudley.
I like the idea about rotating other people in there. I wish that they would say that there's even more people in the show, where it would just be each episode has, this one's got Bob Holly in it, this one's got, I don't know why I want Bob Holly, or this one's got, Ivory, or, just throw random people in there. Godfather's popping up on this episode, I'd like to see more of that kind of stuff while people have these people around.
You know who I think's going to be on the show? Maven.
That'd be funny.
I think Maven will be on the show. I think his, year and a half on YouTube paid off big. I don't know if you know this or not, but one of his recent videos ended with him arriving at the Performance Center.
Oh, really?
And I can see Maven being used here.
We got trademarks as well for future show on AEW side of things.
I like this one.
And I'm assuming it's only going to be one of these, but they trademarked Maximum Combat, Maximum Mayhem, and Maximum Carnage, which we just talked about some Batman stuff, but hey, my number 2 favorite superhero of all time, Spider-Man. Maximum Carnage is one of the biggest story arcs that is out there for Spider-Man. If you don't know, it's it's a video game, all that stuff with Carnage and Venom and Demo Goblin and Shriek, and a very fun story, all a matter of crazy 90s type of stuff. They could do a better version of it nowadays, for sure. But
I don't know about that.
better in some ways, like a tighter, more well-rounded story. I think they could do. But if you want to go with just pure 90s fun, that shit was fun. Fantastic Four pops up in all this. I'm assuming that they trademarked all 3 of these because they are just we'll use one of them and we'll figure that out down the line about which one we're going to use. And there could be potentially some trademark issues with Maximum Carnage because it is something that's how do you kind of navigate that versus you're not going to do AEW Secret Wars without Marvel being yo, come on, man, Secret Wars is our thing. But then again, AEW's played fast and loose with this stuff before where they're we're going to throw out November to Remember, we're going to throw out Bash at the Beach, we got Winter's Coming, and it's that's a Game of Thrones thing.
Well, that's because they partnered with Max.
Yeah, that one they give a little bit of leeway on that front, but they still did it with the WWE stuff, and it wouldn't shock me if they tried to, look at Tony Khan with the Captain Insano, he's just looking around going, is there anything I can take from anything else and just be that's mine now too,
I don't blame him. And to be clear, I don't blame him. If I had this kind of money, me too. But
if I get to play with my toys and I want to say that the X-Men are going to cross over with the WWE figures, Undertaker's going to fight Mr. Sinister in this thing, it's a live action version of that, but I think that they're not going to go with Maximum Carnage. I think that they'll end up going with either Maximum Mayhem or Maximum Combat, but this does seem like this would be the name of a show, which could be anything from a special episode of Dynamite, or it could be another whole pay-per-view. I don't think it's going to be a pay-per-view. I think it's going to be an episode of TV.
I think it might be a pay-per-view. There's plenty of months still open for them to have a show made, and they have to learn nothing. But one of those months where it's open, I'm sure they can figure out how to put it in Maximum Carnage.
Well, we have, what's the schedule for, we actually go to Smarkoutmoment.com and I can see the schedule for Smarkoutmoment has the 2024 and 2025, at least as far as what we know right now, breakdown. So, the, Fight for the Fall, and it's just special on Dynamite. Revolution is, Revolution's March. Yeah, that was earlier than that, okay. They're all playing all in Texas and all supposed to, so we have March and July is covered, and then we can kind of assume the usual breakdown of some of the other things, so technically they could have another thing in January or February. I don't think that they would rush it that fast, but maybe. They could have, I'm seeing something that I need to remove here because they didn't do, St. Patrick's Day Slam, and I had that down still as
They didn't do it, sure?
No, they didn't. It was kind of weird. Of course, we were talking about this the other day, that they rushed this whole holiday bash and everything. We had Dynasty in April, Double or Nothing in May, we're in June,
All in July.
All in stuff in July and August, All Out, September, Wrestle Dream October, November Full Gear, and December World's End.
Covered month to month, huh?
It's just January and February that they have open for pay-per-view.
And I guess maybe we got a February pay-per-view.
Or it's just a TV show. And the TV show, not an episode of Dynamite, not AEW Shockwave or anything like that.
Unless maybe they didn't get Shockwave.
I can't imagine that's going to be AEW Maximum Carnage. Weekly show kind of thing. But it does say it's entertainment in the nature of wrestling contests, events, programs, so it's show-based. It's not Maximum Carnage is going to be the name of a faction or something. And when we find out more information about exactly what that is, we'll let you know. But that is something that's kind of up in the air now. If we're going to get AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage, or if we're going to get AEW Collision Maximum Mayhem, or whatever it might be. Not the worst name in the world, but that's compared to a lot of other shows that I'm not the biggest fan of on WWE and AEW on that front. I like the Maximum Carnage name for the Spider-Man reference, but I think I would like Maximum Mayhem better.
Maximum Combat sounds too close to Mortal Kombat, right?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest fan of that. Maximum Combat name, the Mortal Kombat's fun. Although I was always a little bit more of a Street Fighter guy.
And this will surprise all of you. I prefer Street Fighter specifically when they're mixed up with X-Men and Marvel characters.
Marvel vs. Capcom type stuff.
It's one of the best crossover fighters of all time.
So much fun. Let's switch over to some TV talk that we don't normally talk about, but we now know who is going to be fighting Chris Jericho for the ROH World Championship at ROH Final Battle, which the setup that we have going on with all these next few episodes of things, and the fact that it's ROH, we're going to do Saturday Night's Main Event next week. We'll do either a separate predictions thing, treat like pay-per-view, or we'll just do Saturday Night's Main Event as part of the